Hi, welcome to your Urban Connection. Remember, this is the channel that is often imitated, but is never duplicated. And here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. If you recall, we did a podcast here just about, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, maybe three, about Wells Fargo Bank being fined and having to pay back to its consumers over $3 billion for illegal banking transactions, including initiating false accounts, falsely impounding people's vehicles, falsely making foreclosures on people's homes, and other illegal acts. Well, today, another shoe has dropped in the banking industry. And this time, it's none other than Bank of America. And I find it interesting that Bank of America is guilty of some of the same accusations that were leveled against Wells Fargo. Now, I'm going to tell you one thing, folks. We tend to think that in the banking industry, big is better. But nothing could be further from the truth. You see, all of these big national, multinational banks are guilty of two or three things. Number one, they're greedy as you know what, okay? They're greedy. They're corrupt. They're only interested in money, making money, okay? Filling their coffers and their stockholders' coffers full of your hard-earned money when they can do it illegally. Remember the days when they used to charge you $3 for an overdraft, and then all of a sudden that fee escalated to $35 per check. Okay? Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, at $3, if they can make money at $3 for an overdraft fee, how much money do you think they're making at $35? Because it costs no more to process an overdraft check at $3 at $35 than it does $3. So the difference between $35 and the $3 is $32 of obscene profits. And that's what these banks were doing. Okay? Now, if you'll recall, it was last year when all of a sudden Bank of America and other banks stopped charging for overdraft fees. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if they stopped charging, you think they were losing money? They were losing profits, but they were not losing any money because it didn't cost them anything to process it anyhow. So why did they stop? They stopped because they got caught. That's why. Okay, let me just give you a little idea here about what Bank of America in your area. Remember, this is a national bank, Bank of America. Let me tell you what Bank of America has been doing in your neighborhood, in your city. This is according to Reuters. You can find it also on AP. You can find it on CNBC. You can find it all over the place. Here's what happened. And this was today. Bank of America on Tuesday, today, agreed to pay $250 million in fines and compensation to settle claims that the bank systematically double charged customers' fees withheld promised credit card perks, and open accounts without customer authorization. Does that sound familiar to you? Does that sound like something we reported on here just recently about Wells Fargo Bank? These same illegal acts. Bank of America agreed to pay $100 million in restitution to harmed consumers and another $150 million in civil penalties after the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency said the bank violated a number of laws beginning in 2012. Now, if you think back, that's when they first started escalating these charges for overdraft fees from $3 upwards to a peak of $35. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you, if you've been banking with Bank of America since 2012, you more than likely are owed some money. And you need to see to it that you're compensated for any overdraft fees that you were charged $35 for, because they have to pay out over $100 million. So get your share. Now, Bank of America reaped hundreds of millions of dollars by charging multiple fees to customers who did not have enough funds in their accounts from February of 2018 until February of 2022. The CPPB said in a statement, consumers could not reasonably expect or understand they would be hit with a $35 fee each time the bank declined to pay a single transaction, the bank regulators said. In a statement, Bank of America said it voluntarily eliminated or reduced a range of fees last year. Yeah, you did. After you got caught with your hands in the cookie jar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something. If you're the average working class person, you'd be a heck of a lot better off doing your banking business with a local or maybe a regional bank, a smaller bank, not these large multinational banks, these national banks, because they're all in it for one thing, to rip you off. You know, and I'm telling you, look, these guys were fined $250 million. That sounds like a lot of money. But let me tell you, if you could rip off your customers to the tune of $1 billion, would you be objectionable to being fined $250 million? That means you still profited $750 million. So this is nothing more than a slap on the wrist to these people. And at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something. At the same time, you're probably a middle class, low to middle class, hardworking person, struggling, trying to keep food on the table, trying to keep the mortgage paid, trying to keep up to date with the car payments. All the while, the CEO of this bank, who's just been fined $250 million for ripping you off, is paid a salary of last year $30 million. That was his annual salary, $30 million. And guess what? Last year was not one of Bank of America's best years. Their profit margin went down 14% last year. And the CEO still made his $30 million salary. Okay? Yeah, so what does he get in a good year? You know? So, folks, let me just say something to you. I want to read you a little bit more of this. But I want you to understand, if you have a credit union as your place of employment, you'd be much better off utilizing and doing your banking services at that credit union than you would at one of these large banks like Bank of America and Wells Fargo. Now listen to this. The CFPB has launched a crackdown on a range of so-called junk fees. They use that word instead of saying illegal, okay? Including overdraft and non-sufficient funds fees. It says lenders unfairly charge customers for banking services. These practices are illegal and undermine customer trust. The CFPB will be putting an end to these practices across the banking system, CFPB Director Rohit Chauba said in a statement. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are still being charged these absorbent check fees for insufficient funds, if you're paying anything, and especially if you're paying over $3, $10, $20, $25, $30, ladies and gentlemen, you are being ripped off. And you should demand a refund of your money. I don't care what bank it is. You see here in the statement, these are illegal fees being charged by the bank. Under sales pressure for seeking rewards, Bank of America employees illegally applied for and enrolled consumers without their knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, that's stealing. That is stealing. They're stealing your money. They did it without their knowledge in credit card accounts from at least 2012. The CFB said the accounts represented a small percentage of new accounts at the bank, the regulator said. The bank, which is based in Charlotte, North Carolina, also failed to make good on cash rewards and bonus points that were promised to tens of thousands of credit card customers, according to the CFPB. They're ripping you off, ladies and gentlemen, any way they can. They're dipping their fingers into your pockets and taking your hard-earned money illegally. I cannot emphasize that enough. Illegally. And you had no knowledge. They've been doing it since 2012. And look, let me say something to you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why large corporations and large businesses don't like the idea of being regulated. They hate regulated because that means somebody's looking over their shoulder. Because you and I are not doing it. So thank goodness for federal regulation and federal regulators. In this case, the COC, the FBPB, these people are looking out for us. And let me just tell you who two stalwarts are in our government. Thank goodness for Elizabeth Warren, who has been a bulldog on financial institutions ever since she's been a member of Congress. And another one is Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio. Now, Sherrod says in this case, he described the case as an example of U.S. banks padding their profits with Americans' money. And this is what I'm telling you now. This money is coming from you. The money that you go out and slave for, you work hard for, you sweat for, only to have your bank skimming off the top every time you make a deposit, every time you utilize your credit card. You're being skimmed off the top by an unscrupulous bank. Separately, Bank of America's financial advisory arm, Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Finner, and Smith agreed to pay $12 million in penalties to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission and Financial Industry Regulatory Authority for failing to file hundreds of suspicious activity reports to regulators from January 2009 to November 2019. You see, ladies and gentlemen, they're doing it from all aspects of the bank, from all areas of the banks. They do it from the loan department. They do it from the stock department. They do it from all areas. They do it from the commercial lending department, the residential lending. Okay, they're skimming. They're skimming. They're taking your money. Merle discovered the issue in 2019, according to the SEC's orders. Now, it's been going on since 2012, but they just discovered it in 2019. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to understand this. I just told you that the CEO, the chairman, his salary last year was $30 million. Do you think that a chairman of a bank that's being paid $30 million a year and upward, do you think he doesn't know what's going on in every division of that bank? He has to know. He gets reports every day. Look, they can be in London, England, and they're still going to get a report of that bank's activities at the end of that day, every day. I don't care where they're, I don't care what part of the country. They don't have to be sitting in Bank of America's corporate office in North Carolina to get a report and to know what's going on. And plus that, this is the chairman, the CEO. They have presidents, they have vice presidents all throughout the bank in every division. You think they all don't know what's going on? You think they all don't know that they're doing illegal acts? They know it. But you know what? The reward is greater than the risk of getting caught. And that is why they do it. And when they get their hands slapped, when they get their hands caught in the cookie jar, they suffer the consequences. And basically, they probably laugh it off. Because, as I said, if you make $1 billion and you only had to pay back 250 million, you're still 750 million ahead. Okay? And those are great odds. Okay? Those are great odds for anybody. Those are obscene profits. And that's what they are. Okay. Following an internal review, we reported this matter to regulators. Now, this is what the bank is saying, but it took them 7 years to do this internal review. Following the internal review, we reported this matter to the regulators and have enhanced our process and training regarding these filings, the bank said in a statement on the matter. 7 years. That's what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. The reward is much greater than the risk. So they got away with this for 7 years. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just one of many cases of illegal charging of fees and creating false bank accounts, robbing you of your financial rewards with some credit card use. That's going on by banks in America. And let me tell you one thing. Did you ever notice that every time one of these guys gets caught, it's never a small regional bank. It's always one of the biggest banks that you and I think, because of their size, they've got to be great, they've got to be honest, they've got to be true. Nothing could be further from the truth, ladies. They're just big enough that they think they can be ignored for a period of time, enough time that they can make enough money to make it worth their while to continue to siphon it off of your money, to reaching into your pocket. Every time you go into that bank and make a transaction, they're skimming off the top. All right? Now, this is the second bank within a period of 60 to 90 days that I've reported on. I guarantee you, this is not the last report that I will do this year. And this is July the 11th. So we still have 5 months, a little over 5 months. And I can almost guarantee you that I will be back with another podcast on the illegal banking activities by a large United States bank. Protect your money, ladies and gentlemen. Protect your money. Keep a good close track on your bank statements. Look at what's happening. Look to see where your money is going. It might not be where you think it's going. Okay? For your urban connection, I'm James Barfield. See you next time.